Alright, today we are going to be starting from where we stopped. We are still discussing the map, the filter, and the reduce function in Python. One thing I want to tell you about these functions, they are actually used for big data analysis. You may have heard of Hadoop. So this gives you kind of a basis to get a head start in big data analysis. This will be a tutorial for another section. But for now, let's now continue with the filter function. We've looked at the map function. Map function takes a set of values and applies a function to each of these sets and returns another set of values which represent the results of this function on the values. So today we are going to be looking at the filter function. So this is actually a filter function, all right? Now the filter function is like the map function. It also returns a set of values and it also takes as input a function and a list of values. Before I continue, I'd like to also remind you, as I used to say, subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscribe button below this video, so that you kind of encourage me to continue making these lessons, and also you get notified when I make new lessons. So just click on this red subscribe button below this video, and also let me know if you have any challenges by writing a comment for me below. Alright, so now one thing we can do is to try to reduce by try to filter this function. Maybe let's say we want to return the number of students that score below average, right? So if the average is 50, we want to filter this function and get the students that score below average or above average. So as usual, what we can do is write a function that takes a number and tell us if it's above average or not. So let's say let's write a function called is above average. So this function will take a value and it's going to say return, okay, let's say if n is greater than 50, return true, right? Else return false. So yeah, in true or false in Python, you need to capitalize the first letter of the word, right? And also put semicolon here. Alright, in this. Alright, so this is a basic function that returns true if a number is above average, and if it's not above average, let's say is average or below average, it's going to return false. So using this function, we can now use the filter function to apply it on this set of data to filter out the numbers that are above average. How does this work? This is how it works. You also use the filter function. So I'm just going to say print, and I'm going to say filter. Okay, let me call it results is equal to filter, and I'm going to pass this function is above average, and I'm going to pass the set of data which is scores. Alright, so now if I print out the results, it's going to give me the numbers that are above average. So basically what happens is it applies this is above average to each of them, and if it is true, if it passes the test is above average, it's going to return that data in a set. So if I print the results, I'm going to right click and I'm going to run it. So let's see. Again, the output of the filter function is a filter object, as you can see. So what we can simply do is to just convert it to a list by saying list, and then you convert it to a list. So let's see if this works. So you can see it now gives us only the numbers that are above average. That is how the filter function works. You can actually write another function, maybe get numbers below average, get numbers that are average, get number below between 190 or 170, as the case may be. So let's say you want to get numbers, let's say between 70 and 100. So the best student of your class, you want to get them. You can adjust this function and say if is greater than or equal to, and this time we are going to use 70. And if I run this function again, it's going to give me only the ones that are above as 70. So the key is you need to write a function, and then you need to apply this function to the filter, to filter, and then, sorry, I don't like seeing this squiggly lines. Okay, it's gone. Also this, let's take it out, it's gone as well. So you give the function, and then you give the score. Again, let me remind you that you can use lambda expression in place of this function. So let's write the lambda expression equivalent of this function. Lambda expression will just give us a single line. So it's above average. Let's call it is above average equal to lambda, takes n, comma, and returns what? Returns n is greater than or equals, but is greater than or equal to 70, right? So maybe I'm going to enclose this in parentheses. Oh, sorry, I'm getting it wrong. So actually it should be this way. All right. So you use comma when you have two parameters. So this now is the same as this function. So if I take out this function, if I take it out completely, everything is going to work perfectly. So I'm trying to just make you understand and appreciate how lambda expression works. Lambda expression applies when you use map, filter, and reduce. So if you actually want to make everything in one line, you can actually take out the lambda expression and put it in line and just throw it away. So you can see in one single line, we have the filter function filtering our scores here. So try to do this by yourself. Try to take the one in my website, thegenius.com/Python, or you can see in the description box, you can see a link to this page, and you can just run this by yourself and see exactly how it works. Alright, so in this case we have filtering out missing data, so let's quickly do that. So assuming there are some missing data in the data sets, so if I print out this data in the data set, let me comment out this one. Okay, sorry. So let's print out scores. And you can see it comes with missing data, as you can see, right? And that is not desirable. Sometimes you want to filter out missing data. Again, the filter function comes to the rescue. So in case of filtering out missing values is a little easier. So in that case, we are going to replace this with none. Right, so we are going to replace it with none. So lambda n, when n is none, you are going to filter it out. So let's now print the result and see what happens. So if I print the result, okay, it gives us a filter object. I convert it to a list. And if I print it, you can see, oh no, okay, so let's see. So we have new student is equal to filter non-student. So okay, basically we don't need the lambda expression. So in case of filter, you just specify filter, give it the function, and give it the set of data. So if I run it now, it filters out the missing values. So you can see the missing values has been filtered out. So in case of filtering out missing values, just specify none as the name of the function. None is going to filter out missing values, zero values, empty arrays or empty tuples, and things like that. So take note of that, and my website is clearly explained. Now let's look at the next one, and this case is the reduce function. Now the reduce function is a bit different from these other functions, and this kind of somehow we discourage you using this reduce function because using a loop tends to be better than using the reduce function. The reduce function tends to return an aggregate. Remember, aggregate is like getting the sum, the average, the mean, the median. So if you take a set of data, you want to aggregate it, get some single statistic from this set of data. So for simplicity, let's just take an example that is sum. We want to get sum of all our data set. So Again, let me just take out this missing value so that it becomes simpler. So to get the sum, now I'm talking about sum, it can actually be anything at all. You can actually get anything. So we can now use the reduce function. So how does it work? So you simply say, let's just scroll down. All right. So let's say sum. Let's call it my sum, because sum is already a function in Python, is equal to lambda expression, and is going to take two values, x and y, and is going to return x plus y. Now, one thing about this reduce function, the reduce function actually applies to two values at a time. So what is going to happen with the reduce function is going to call this lambda expression, applying it to 72 and 49, add the two together, the result, it will now apply the result to that result and this, and it gets the result, and it applies this result plus 8 and 80. So cumulatively, it gets the summation of the whole value. So the definition is this. Let me just read out the definition. You use this function to find some kind of aggregate of a list of items, and the reduce function is a bit different than the previous two. You probably would not need to use it much. So how it works, it takes a sequence of items and applies a function to each item cumulatively. That means that in the first place, it takes the function, applies it to the first two items, then applies it to the next two items, and so on. So let's just use it and see how it works. So basically, it's discouraged using this reduce function. So try to focus on the other two, the lambda expression, the map function, and the filter. But let's just do it to complete the tutorial. So let's say result. Result equals reduce. Now reduce is not